Welcome to Make a Right Left Here. I'm your host, Thomas J. Bellezza. Today, we're going to go over the difference between audience exposition and character exposition. Yay.
Do you have what it takes to make a right left here? Do you?
What the hell is exposition anyway? A lot of people ask this question, especially aspiring writers. Exposition is ultimately literary explanation of what is going on. It's background information of what is to come or why the characters and or situation is happening. And without it, a story is confusing. It's sort of like if I went like this. That's how it happened. What happened? And how did it happen? And why did it happen? Exposition explains. As a writer myself, where I write scripts and things like that for television, and plus I'm an author, I write books. Oh look, books. So character exposition, audience exposition actually doesn't exist. It's really just exposition. I have decided to teach myself over the years how to determine if I'm writing quality exposition versus boring exposition. And the way I do that is if it's character-driven exposition, or character exposition, or am I telling the audience what they need to know, which is audience exposition. Audience exposition is so boring. And I'll tell you why. That's my opinion, though a lot of writers will say they hate exposition. Audience exposition might be something like, I am so-and-so. I have been in prison for 5 years for a crime I did not commit. The thing is, audiences are so much smarter than we really allow them to be. The rule of thumb is you write for a dumb audience, even when you're trying to be smart. But you can trust your audience to understand what's happening. Give a little bit more faith to them. And when you're writing what I call character exposition, you have to understand they're able to take in a longer, drawn out over time, naturally organic conversational piece between two characters than dealing with a mountain of information, or as I call it, verbal diarrhea. Character exposition, in my mind, is a powerful tool to help develop your character through natural organic conversation over maybe a longer period of storytelling. And ultimately, you're adding flavor and coloring up the world, instead of just saying, this is what's happening. We must get the sword of destiny, and if we don't, these evil people will win. So let us go to this temple. The temple has been guarded by blah, blah, blah for centuries. And when we get there, they could kill us. Everything I just said, absolutely in a different way, has happened in a lot of terrible movies that are out there. I'm not going to name any of the Transformer films. And you have to say to yourself, oh, they could have showed and or presented that in a timely fashion. An example of character exposition might be, we're going to a concert, man. You want to come with us? Nah, man. I'm actually, I'm kind of done with concerts. Lucy's going. That's worth the ticket. She's a 10. And 9.5. But I have a bad taste left in my mouth from concert. I know it's not the greatest dialogue in the world, but it is character exposition. Think about it. Think about what was said in those 4 sentences. Literally 2 back and forths. This opens up a ton of questions, asking who are these people and why they feel the way they feel. And without throwing tons of information down the audience's throat by saying, you know, with the one character saying, hey, you should come to this concert. But he could have easily been like, hey, man, you got to come to this concert. It's the Grateful Dead. It's going to be wonderful. It's going to be this people, this people, this people. And Lucy's going to be there. And then the other guy goes, you know what? You know, as much as I like Lucy, I know she's a Big 10 because I've been following her my whole life. I've known her since she was 4 years old. We grew up together. It's the greatest thing in the world. It's just, when I was younger, you know, when I was 18, somebody was crowd surfing. They fell on my head. I got temporarily paralyzed. It was terrible, and I just don't like going to concerts anymore. Imagine they did that. There'd be no movie. But now, over the course of the show or the movie, we get to explore the world as a character. Our audience gets to see the world through the character's eyes. We get to find out who Lucy is. We get to find out why this character doesn't like concerts. We get to figure out what their relationship is, the character A and character B. There's a lot going on that with good character exposition, you can take over the course of any program. If you learn to create character exposition, as I call it, Over time, your writing skill will improve tenfold. You could even place some exposition in the first act and the rest of it in Act 2, though you could also do something really crazy, and you could do a great deal of it in Act 1, a good portion of the remainder in Act 2, and then save a real big, like, in Act 3, and it pays off. Because now you created a full arc for the character, the audience gets to see all this stuff, and then they go, oh, they answered the one question that was really on my mind, which made me listen and pay attention to the whole movie or show, because I've been waiting for what I wanted to know, because there was little seeds that made me go, why doesn't he like concerts anymore? And finally, at the end, he says, hey, Mom, I'm going to a concert. And the mom says, are you sure? Remember last time you became paralyzed? And you go, Mom, that was a long time ago. I was 18. I'm much older. And that is the character exposition. And sometimes you're going to have to throw audience exposition into the fold. You're going to have to. You'll write this beautiful script or this beautiful novel, and the editor or the studio, it's going to be like, you have to explain this. And if they need the script or the book in a certain amount of time, you might not be able to go back through it and kind of filter it in, seed it in. You might just have to be like, here's a big chunk of dialogue. Hopefully, though, in a screenplay, if you do have a chunk of dialogue, you have a really great actor who can kind of just let it happen naturally. A great example, which is in the description below, is in the Back to the Future movies, the first one specifically. Doc Brown is talking to Marty McFly. There's a really great moment where he's explaining when he discovered time travel, you know, when he fell off the toilet in his head. And also he talks about how the mall area used to be miles of farmland from the farmer Peabody. I'm just saying, check out that video. It'll give you a real quick, and just study it and be like, oh, I see what's going on. It's 100% audience exposition, but it's being presented in a beautiful fashion by the actor. And another link that's in the description below is examples of really good character exposition, in my opinion. So it talks about Wedding Crashers, Godfather's in there, Back to the Future's in there, and a couple other ones are in there that show examples of character exposition, though they don't call it that, they just call it straightforward exposition. They go, this is exposition. If you have any questions on this video subject matter, or questions in general about any other subject, please feel free to write them in the comment. If I choose your question and I make a video on it, if the video I make based on your question reaches 5,000 views, you will win a reward. That reward will be bestowed to you based on whatever sponsorship or particular item I am giving away. And of course, my face is on my chest. If you like the face and there's merchandise in a link in the description that can absolutely be gone to. And you can pick out shirts, computer fronts, stickers, you name it, we got it. I even got a dress for the ladies. And then for anyone who's interested in how I look so good on the screen, it's because I use a very particular camera, which is a phone, and the phone is the LG V20. The link to this item is in the description below. Please check it out. If you like the way this looks, I'm not even using it on the highest quality. There's also a light blaring on me. The light I am using is in the description below. And, you know, if you feel like it, you can go to my Patreon, which is also in the description below. Do you have what it takes to make a right left heel? Do you? Do you, punk?
Oh dear.